What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Show back with another video, man. We're here to talk about this PS5 controller. So apparently at Gamescom or whatever it's called, they actually announced that this controller was going to be a thing. Now, I've never really been into elite style controllers, like controllers that offer you not necessarily an advantage, but a more customizable way to play. I've never really been into those, to be honest. I've not really been a fan of like games like shooters and things of that nature that people usually buy those types of controllers for. But this one has me interested. Like, this one for sure has me interested. This one I actually might pick up because I currently do not own a second controller. I've been playing the original PS5 controller and I've been using that. I mean, I play a lot of JRPGs, so a little bit of drift every now and again is not really a crazy concern for me. But one thing that I look at this controller and I really like to see is that you can actually change out the stick caps. So not only does that give you an availability to you know, basically insert some third-party stuff in there, because you know eventually everybody's gonna start making parts for this controller. So for one, the controller could be customized visually because, as you, like I said, just like I did with the PlayStation faceplates, once you add a customizable option, there's a lot of people online that will make and sell customizable options. So you'll have, like, at least on the visual side, a lot more stuff to play around with. Now, this controller is named the DualSense Edge wireless controller, and it looks pretty much like your standard PS5 controller, but kind of different. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, it is fully customizable. Like, it looks really cool. I'm gonna get down to some of the actual talking points in just a second. I just want to say that for those who really haven't invested into a pro and elite controller like me, because I mean, you could be a JRPG fan and be a fan of those types of games and then still have those controllers. But if you're like me, you never really got interested in something like this, I definitely say pick this up when it comes out. Only the simple fact that it intrigues me. I think all the stuff that it comes with is absolutely great. Alright, so let's actually start talking about the controller. So a few of the talking points from what I can see here, it's interchangeable stick modules. Change up your DualSense Edge with different stick modules is entirely by swapping out the whole analog stick module. More details on these to come, and they will be sold separately. You can also choose different caps for your thumbs too. So like I said before, being able to kind of like change out the sticks, and even though PlayStation will probably release their own official product for this, there will be a lot of third-party like sellers that'll be doing like customizable options for these. So I highly, if you really want a customizable controller, I really highly request that you get this one for sure. Changeable back buttons. Deploy 2 extra buttons to any other button input, giving you more controls at your disposal for quick actions. Alright, so those are self-explanatory. Those are pretty much what you see on a lot of like elite controllers. I do have like the Hori Split Pad Pros. They got sort of a simpler feature. They got like back buttons that you can actually set to be your own specific buttons. So say if you wanted to have like a button for R2 and you just don't like where R2 is at, you can use that other back bottom button to also give you another way to R2. Just make the controller easier for you to handle. And controllers like this are highly requested. You know, they're very useful for people who may not be able to play with the regular controller, or at least have a hard time playing with the regular controller. Like these buttons are basically there to give you another way to change the way your button setup is. Remappable buttons and controls. Remap and customize the buttons on your DualSense Edge to truly make it yours. Also adjust stick sensitivity and dead zones to your liking. That's also a very important fact, because that means that any button on the controller is customizable. This can actually come in handy for when you're playing like an emulator or such. We don't really necessarily know how this controller will hook up to other devices. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to use PC input with it. And if you're on a PC input and you want to kind of change around stuff with the actual controller settings, that'll be very helpful. And just generally having remappable buttons is going to be a big help. Really making you feel like you have a controller that's really special and unique to you. Customizable triggers. Alter the amount of actuation needed on L2 R2 with the slider, offering hairline trigger actions to regular DualSense levels. Now, to be honest, I'm not really a tech person. I mean, I like tech, but I really didn't get what they were saying with this one. What I can assume is either one or two things. Either one, it's based on like when you play PS5 games and it gets to like when you're trying to shoot a gun and you have like the features that allow you to actually kind of feel like you're actually drawing a bow in the horizon, and you can actually choose the kind of level of vibration you want with that. Or they could just be talking about the amount that you would actually need to press down on the trigger in order for those actions to be used. Either way, it both is the same thing, just explained 2 different ways. Because if you can lower the resistance on the controller, then that would technically mean you would have to press down on the controller with less force. Now the best thing about this controller, the absolute best thing, is that it actually gives you controller profiles. So let's say that you wanted to use that controller, and you might have somebody in the house that isn't really able to use regular controllers. You can actually let them use the controller and basically customize a controller profile for them and give them ease of access of using the controller. And then when you want to play it, let's say you want to, you know what I'm saying, it's the kids or something, and you want to get back off, you know, and you want to play by yourself, you can actually switch back to your custom settings and play the game like normally, or any kind of way that you wanted to customize it. I think that's a very underrated feature, especially for anybody that has played with like disabled gamers. Me personally, I have played with disabled gamers in the past. You know, one of my closest friends is one. And something like this is a really sought after feature because, you know, it's not that they can't adapt to playing a regular controller, but to make the series, like, to make the controller easier to play, it's better if you have something that's highly customizable like this. In all honesty, this is why I think this is important. It's like, this is a simple feature, but in some of the controllers you don't have this. That's what makes it a lot easier to use. And of course, all the DualSense wireless features, such as the haptic feedback and the DualSense pad, pretty much everything you get with your regular PS5 controller. So all in all, I gotta say this controller is absolutely fantastic. At this current time, I don't think there's no price for it. You can assume it's gonna be pricey though. It is an elite controller. So with that being said, I would go ahead and pre-order this if you get the chance, because I do think a lot of people are jumping on this. Like, a lot of people will be jumping on this, and it'll end up being hard to find like the PS5. Now, the last thing I want to pretty much say is that the best thing about this controller is the fact that you can take out the analog stick, so it can actually fix drift. You know, controllers at this point in time always get drift, and with those you can basically replace those sticks, so you won't even have to worry about that problem. It's so easy to replace them now. That's why I'm getting this controller. But with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. I'll see you guys next video.